Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Tony. I am your success strategist, leadership mentor for parents, for professionals, for all you innovators and leaders out there that are driven and ambitious and want to help contribute to the world in a meaningful way. I am so glad to be here with you all today. I want to talk today about something that I think is a challenge. For sure. I know it's been a challenge for me for sure. It's this phrase of turn the other cheek. If someone figuratively or literally slaps you on one side of your face, turn the other cheek. If you have been hurt, wronged, betrayed by maybe it was a person or a group or a social system, then turn the other cheek. It can make your blood boil. It can invoke infuriation or confusion, frustration. Many people think of turning the other cheek, which is heard often in religious settings. They think of it as a means of fawning or giving up or giving in or shutting up or shutting down or otherwise letting themselves get stepped on like a doormat. If I think back on the times that I have been stepped all over, emotionally abused, betrayed by someone that I care for, unfairly judged, rejected, penalized in an unjust way. Maybe it was because I was being too nice, or because I was too smart, or because I was too fat, because I was too young, because I was too ambitious, because I wasn't Black enough, because I wasn't white enough, because I wasn't right enough, because I wasn't something enough, because I didn't do this in this way, or speak this way. Whatever the reason was that someone used to treat me in a way that was painful, sometimes even traumatizing. Sometimes it felt like just for no reason whatsoever. I couldn't even pinpoint what the reason was beyond just they're feeling hurt. And so they're hurting other people, or our system is just broken and outdated and it needs fixing. And so it winds up affecting me, or it winds up affecting you. The pain passes down, that chain of pain. Someone in their fear or hurt or anger displaces their unregulated emotions out upon me. When I think of those times, I can remember the pain. I can remember the suffering. I can remember the feelings and the thoughts of, it's not freaking fair. But it happened. It happened because I was there, because they could, because sometimes I allowed it and didn't even realize I was allowing it, because they didn't know what else to do, maybe, or maybe they did. Either way, it hurt. It wasn't fair. It left scars unseen, but deeply felt. Thinking about those times when I apply turning the other cheek, it has felt and can sometimes even still feel, depending on what mood I've got going, what kind of emotion I've got going, it can feel wrong. Like turning the other cheek is just wrong. to just roll over and allow myself to be more and more abused, more and more misused, more and more hurt. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why? If someone is hurting me, if someone is hurting you, why would we turn the other cheek? It doesn't make sense, right? But here's what I have come to learn and now know to be true. Different than what I had understood before. Turning the other cheek isn't about letting people or systems continue to do harm or wrong or otherwise oppress me or you or anyone else for that matter. It's not a statement of weakness. It's actually a statement of power, a statement of strength, a statement of courage. It's not about giving up or giving in to hate or bitterness. It's about standing firmly, unyieldingly in this space of faith with intentional focus. It's about the freedom to choose where we are going to add our fuel. Are we going to add it to the fires of fear or to the fires of love? And I'm not talking about the mushy gushy kind of love. I know the kind that you roll your eyes at this point in the conversation. No, I'm not talking about that kind of love. I'm talking about agape love, the kind of love that MLK talks about in his speeches. The kind of love that rehumanizes rather than dehumanizes as we deal with the ugly underbelly of the human race that was created by the immense suffering and injustices that so many have endured. Perhaps you have endured. Oftentimes, forgetting to turn the other cheek happens. And understandably so, right? But turning the other cheek, it doesn't require us to pretend the pain isn't real. It doesn't require us or ask of us to pretend like wrong is right or bad is good. It doesn't ask us to lower ourselves or cower in the face of injustice. Instead, it calls for us to be poignant about our focus, to be deliberate about our efforts, to be purposeful about how we're going to respond when someone lashes out, when a system lashes out, when a group of people lashes out in a poor, abusive, or hurtful way. How are we going to respond in faith, with faith, and focus intentionally? How are we going to respond to the hate? How are we going to respond to the bitterness? Are we going to add more hate? Or are we going to add more bitterness? It's about us taking our power back, not about us giving it away. In my own life, in fact, I've learned that when I turn the other cheek, I'm not turning it so they can hit me more. I'm turning it because I am turning to control, to be intentional about where I am looking, about where I am placing my focus. I'm turning it so that I can look towards my God, towards my light, towards hope, towards solutions, not continue to look straight ahead at the hate, the bitterness, and the problems and get sucked into that. And that, like Daniel in the lion's den, if you've ever heard of Daniel in the lion's den and the story behind that, who was thrown into the lion's den and because of his faith was protected. If we take that metaphorically, figuratively speaking, that level of faith and intentional focus in the face of harm, of hate, of bitterness, of hurt, of fear that is being pushed upon you, it offers a layer of protection, a level of know-how, a security that can come only through this connection with intentional focus through faith, this sense of confidence that comes with that. It's that deliberate, poignant shift of focus that turning the other cheek actually calls for us to do. Very different than just giving our power away and letting someone walk all over us and slap us across the face back and forth and back and forth. Very different. And that's what I choose to contribute my time, my effort, my energy, my focus on solution to, rather than focusing on the problem. And I will tell you, when I learned how to shift turning the other cheek, my understanding of turning the other cheek from being walked all over and staying quiet, when I shifted my understanding of turning the other cheek to actually standing in my power, connected to my faith with an intentional focus, when I shifted that, it's almost like mountains moved. Mountains that seemed like problems and challenges and pain points in my life, they moved or shifted or reduced in some way. And so I'm choosing to believe in better. That's what turning the other cheek is. I'm not going to invest my time, my effort, my energy, my focus into all of the hate and bitterness allowing me to get sucked in. I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm aware that it's happening. I'm aware of the pain that it causes, but I'm not going to intentionally contribute to that. I'm going to choose to believe that better is possible. I'm going to choose to believe that focusing my attention, my effort in a different direction is actually going to move us forward rather than keep us stagnant or move us backwards. And that matters. It really, really matters. It makes a difference. Our focus, our intentional, deliberate, purposeful focus, grounded in faith matters. And I'm not going to lie, it can, and it has been very hard at times, for sure. And it's going to be hard for me again, I am sure, because I'm human. Otherwise, I wouldn't need faith. I wouldn't need faith if it was never hard, if it was all smooth and easy all the time. What's the benefit of faith, right? But here's what I know for sure. People. It's true. But we also live in a world filled with healing potential. And if you, me, we choose to turn the other cheek, then we'll be doing as MLK preached and asked of us, so as not to add to the bitterness, not to contribute bitterness to bitterness, which would only create new problems and new communities and new systems, new organizations and new laws with new ways to fuel bitterness. If we're creating from a place of bitterness, we're going to create more things that create bitterness. But instead, turning the other cheek from this different understanding, from this different place of knowing, it can change relationships. It can change systems. It can help us add something that moves us towards a solution, creative solutions that allow us to live, to lead, and to love for the better. If you chose to give this understanding of turning the other cheek a try, what might it do for you? It reinvigorated relationships in my life that at one point I didn't even know if I could continue on and being in because of how toxic they had become. They weeded out the toxicity, took time. But the possibilities were there. And because I continued to come back to this place of how can I turn the other cheek in an intentionally focused way, aligned with my faith, without contributing to the bitterness as best I could, it changed so much in my personal and professional life that it led me here to share this with you today. What might that do for you if you gave this different way of thinking about it a try? What might it do for others? What might it do for us if we all chose to give this different way of understanding turning the other cheek a try? Let's find out. Let me know if you give it a try. I would love to hear from you. And if you are new to this channel or you have been here for a while, but you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to subscribe below. Then you'll get updates when I upload new videos, and you will be officially a part of this amazing, growing, up and coming community. Thanks for being with me today.